Hello, and welcome to the Killen Report. I'm Jonathan Clyde, and it's a pleasure to have you join us today. I am so pleased to welcome Ripudaman Malhotra. He has his PhD from the University of Southern California. He was for a long time the Associate Director of SRI. For those of you who don't know what SRI is, it's the Stanford Research Institute. He is a fellow of the American Chemical Society and the co-author of the preeminent book, A Cubic Mile of Oil. Ripu, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jonathan. It's a great pleasure to be here with you again.
You know, we've got a new administration, the Biden administration, and they're introducing an infrastructure plan that I think is probably much broader in scope than we've seen in a long, long time. It's directly related, obviously, to the electric sector, e-cars and chargers and, offshore wind and really enhancing energy efficiency in buildings, all kinds of things. Talk to me about your thoughts on the plan.
Well, I think I agree with you, first of all, that the scope is very, very broad. And as broad as it is, and the huge investments also, like close to $2 trillion, this is a very important first step. People shouldn't get the impression that just finishing all these tasks will get us to where we want to be in terms of climate change. Climate change is a global phenomenon, and it is fundamentally an energy challenge. And that's why I like the fact that he's emphasizing so much on getting us to clean energy. We need lots and lots of clean energy. And one of the easiest ways of doing it is we got to electrify as much as we can. And the first step in that is the automobile, the transport. Then we can get to trucks and other things, and then the industries, and then they all need to be done. And it's going to be a while before we can get the entire energy system, all the services that we get for everything from electricity and clean electricity.
Well, I think one of the things that may be important if this does come to fruition is being able to jumpstart the U.S. electric car manufacturing, because we do lag internationally, but this can be done in a competitive way with rebates and tax credits and just a wide network of, 500,000 chargers, of creating jobs and training workforces and getting all this good paying stuff. I think that probably is a really important goal of the Biden.
Absolutely. That's the thing, that you get this jump started, you make your investment, and you incentivize the US industry to start doing it. And once then the industry will jump in. That's the hope and the actually expectation. I think it's reasonable that they will jump in and start producing and exporting these wonderful things. For example, the number of cars, we're started in 1990 or early 2000s. The EV started coming up a little bit. There were earlier models, and I'm not talking about going back to the history, but they were all in a few thousands were the numbers. Last year or so, we got to about 2 million cars in the US. And we project, according to Biden, we get up to 20 million. That's a tenfold increase in the next few years. That's great. Let's look at the total number of vehicles that we have. We've got about 335 million cars in the US alone. The cars in the world, if you want to look at it on a global scale, it's a couple billion cars that you want to electrify. So yeah, 20 million is, from where we are, it's a good jump, but there's a long way further to go is what we have to. But you have to take the step and be consistent.
Exactly. And the other thing that people have to do, be consistent.
Make it possible for them to do it. Otherwise, right now, we were kind of hamstrung. Kind of was no incentive, nothing. So just one or two companies. We now want many more companies to jump in, innovate, and move forward.
Right. Well,
one of the things that to have public buy these cars, I think they're going to be offering tax rebates both for the consumers and also investment credits or some kind of things tax things for the deferments for the manufacturers in a way to make sure that the price point is such that it can be adopted by the public. Public also has big concern, which is the range anxiety. I mean, the electric cars range, and it's not like the gas pumps are everywhere, and so you fill up a tank and you're 400 miles. So that's another reason. We used to have about 70,000 or 50,000 chargers a while ago. I think last year it all got up to about 90,000 chargers in the US. But this plan was going to make it to about 500,000, 500,000 chargers,
right,
and have them ubiquitous. As it's actually more, many more chargers than Starbucks, or many more chargers than gas stations. I mean, you need many more chargers than gas stations that you have in the US. So I was comparing those figures. So the number of gas stations are about a few 100,000. So this is double that or something, but you need those,
right,
and you need many more. I mean, this is just a start.
Right. And it's going to be interesting because the electrification of the cars is certainly going to be a major disruption. I mean, there'll be new jobs, they'll be created, they're going to be, the traditional ones will be turned into new jobs. But I mean, you're going to have things that don't require transmissions or oil filters or typical things that we're used to having. So this is a whole different way of thinking.
Yeah, that's why the number of jobs created in this sector, you see numbers all over because how people estimate them. And I think they generally estimate a job is a job year, actually. One person for 1 year is one job, is how they call it. I'm not 100, I'm not an economist, but I think that's how the Bureau of Statistics classifies them. And then there are quite a few assumptions as to how many would be lost and how many would be gained. You can make estimates, and people have made estimates. So yeah, we do expect in the $174 billion that the Biden administration will be investing in this sector will lead to on the order of millions in just the EV manufacturing side of things. In terms of chargers, I was looking at, how long it takes to build a charger or put them. Then there are all kinds of things that come up, because where the charger is located, are you going to have to trench? You have to dig a trench. Are you going to have to, you have to bring electricity to that place. Is it going to be a pedestal? Are you going to have, will that be ADA compliant? Will it be, so details matter. So things could be for as few, maybe just an 8-hour job stretches into a whole week job.
Right.
So,
right.
And then the level of charger, is it a level 2 charger, which is just a 220, 220 volt kind of an AC car charger, much easier to set up and all that. I mean, you could probably get, what do I say, about 50 miles or so in an hour or so, something like, maybe less. But if you have a DC fast charger, well, you could get 150 miles easily in about an hour or less. I see that the ones that Tesla is offering, they say half an hour will give you almost 250 miles.
Right.
With the DC fast chargers that they have.
Right. Well, this does bring up an interesting point, because with the electric grid in its ancientness, these vehicles, these EVs are going to increase the demand for electricity sustainability. I mean, we've got wind and there's solar, and that's all fine. But that I don't know, Will, and this is your expertise, I don't know that that's going to suffice. What are we going to need to do to bring ourselves up to being able to support and have the infrastructure needed?
Right. Definitely. So that's another aspect in Biden's plan, which I like, which is to put in high voltage connectivities, to put about 20 gigawatts of transmission extra, so that you can, between different regions, because the demand may be high here or low here, you can pull power from elsewhere. You have to generate the electricity. We'll talk about that in a minute. But let's look at right now, if you're only going to get to about 20 million cars, you will need about 160 terawatt hours is what I project per year for those 20 million cars. If that's what you compare that to what the US uses currently, electricity production is about 4,000 terawatt hours. So it's significant. It's a chunk. You can see it. It's not larger than it. But then if you start looking at the entire electric transportation system, you will have to increase the production by, from 4,000 to maybe 6,000 terawatt hours or something like that, just for all of transportation, means all of trucks, trains, and things. I'm not counting planes in it yet at the moment. That's a different.
So let me ask. So Ripu, how do alternative energy sources like hydrogen or nuclear fit into this, so we can get away from the fossil fuels?
So I think we will. In my opinion, what we need will be nuclear in a big way, in a serious way. We could initially limp along with wind and solar, particularly if we have still natural gas that we are using to provide the background. But if we are going to fade out the natural gas also, and if we are going to fade out oil completely, then to provide the support for it, we either need batteries, and I don't see how you could possibly run. You'll have enough lithium or other materials that are needed. And even for electricity production, to produce the 6,000 terawatt hours of electricity for the US alone, I'm not talking world at the moment, world problem is even that more severe. We will need to be making big investments in nuclear also, and jump-starting these small modular reactors that could be built, factory built and installed and replicated, and probably bring down the cost because we'll be building them. That's how you advance on the learning curve. We haven't built a nuclear reactor in 40 years, 30 years, No wonder costs in this country have gone up so much. Costs are not high in Korea, in China, and all that. They are going down. But nuclear power is a clean and has the safety record unbeatable. People are rightfully, in a way, concerned that what is the minute chance of something going terribly, terribly wrong and things like that. But there are actually, if you look at the history and the record, it has the best record. So nuclear power and advanced nuclear powers will have to play a big part.
To be competitive.
To be competitive. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we will be hamstrung.
Exactly. Just in about 15 seconds or so that we've got, you optimistic?
I am optimistic. I see lots of good things. For one thing, I saw the Nuclear Regulatory Commission finally, after decades, finally approved a design of one of the small modular reactors. I see news items like the French EPF building 16 new reactors.
And I can't wait till we have 17. And with that, my friend, we are going to need to move along. I can't wait to have you back at another time to continue this conversation. I always love the conversations that we have. It's a pleasure, Ripu, having you on the Killen Report. I'm Jonathan Clyde. Thank you for joining us on today's Killen Report. We look forward to seeing you at some point in the very, very near future.
Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Thank you, Ripu. Very much appreciate it.